After 40 minutes of play here at the Kimberley Civic Center, the Dynamiters enjoying a 3-1 lead. Shots on goal in that period by the Rockets, 7 for a two-period total of 13. By the Dynamiters, 19 for a two-period total of 38. Power plays in that period, the Rockets 0 for 1, the Dynamiters 2 for 4, and they will have a power play to start the third period. Dynamiters score their second and third power plays in that second period. The second goal scored by number 27, Ryan Skite. Assist going to number 10, Brock Palmer, and to number 88, Brady Daniels. Then the Dynamiters opened up a 3-1 lead on the power play when number 21, Darian Bamber, scored at 19:25. Assist going to number 7, Cole Halverson, and to number 14, Cam Russell. Time of that is 19:25. Dynamiters will have a power play going into the third period with 1 minute 25 seconds left on the power play on a cross-checking penalty to number 6, Ryan Taylor. Time of that penalty, 19:25. So there you have it. After 40 minutes of play, the Kimberley Dynamiters 3, the Golden Rockets 1. Stay tuned for more exciting KIJHL hockey action live from the Kimberley Civic Center featuring the Kimberley Dynamiters. Okay, so for our second period intermission, we have the Dynamiter blogger for Bloggers Blurb, Josh Lockhart. Welcome, Josh.
Thanks for having me.
So we're going to talk about goaltenders tonight, are we?
We are. Now, like the information I have is from about 10 days ago, so it's a little bit dated, but
okay.
I ranked all the goalies in the KIJHL, and I split them apart into two groups.
We talked about this before.
We talked about this before, right? So I went ahead and did that and split them apart. That created some turmoil, but we'll get to that later.
Yeah.
But it was a great way to look at the goalies that have been played a lot, been utilized in the league and those kind of things.
Right.
Versus those that might be the backup, but still whatever.
Right.
So I looked at the goalies' win percentage, their save percentage, their goals against average, and then the goals saved above average as well. And ranked them according to that. And the top 20, if you were in first place, you got 20 points. So the more points you had from being tops in those categories, the better you were overall. So now, unfortunately for me, I come across as a homer because Adam Anderson came out number one.
Right.
Because he has the second best win percentage, best goals against average, third, fourth best goals saved above average, and the best save percentage amongst goalies that have played 20 or more games.
Right.
So he stood out amongst that group. If you put everyone together, it's different. But
and I think that's a testament to not only Adam's commitment to playing for the Dynamiters, but also the Dynamiters' commitment to defense.
Yes.
So I totally agree that he has been outstanding in goal.
Now, the Rockets goalie that pops up here first for playing more than 20 games is Ryan Baker, who's played in an astounding 32 at the time that I did this, 32 games.
Right.
So that's a heavy workload for a goalie, but he came out 12th on that list. But I did, again, for those goalies that have played 19 games or less,
right.
Caden Kreitz from the Nelson Leafs aced every single category.
He was 20 out of 20 in everything.
Yeah.
And he'd played, 19 games?
He's played 16. When I did the 16 games, and he's actually only played one more game since then last night.
Okay.
So he may not get to that 20-game barrier to be considered for division award and all that kind of stuff. So that was another reason why I separated it.
Yeah.
Was division awards you have to play 20 games or more to be considered. So I thought, so I got two reasons to separate the backups from the starters, and to separate those that can be considered for awards and not.
Certainly.
Brett Anderson.
I saw he was third on your list when I was looking at your list.
Good. I'm glad you saw that before it turned off. But yes, he was third amongst the goalies that have played 19 games or less.
And I think he's played 19 games.
He's now played 19 games.
But that doesn't count last night, which he won.
Yeah.
So he would be playing 20 games.
Correct.
And I, if I'm not mistaken, a couple of weeks ago, his save percentage was actually higher than Adam Anderson.
Correct. Yep.
So he might edge out Adam Anderson in the over 20 games goaltender.
We'll see. I might do them again because there was understandably some backlash of why did you separate them? It doesn't really look like okay. So I do plan on looking at it again. But it depends on how many more goalies cross that 20-game threshold. If it's only one or two goalies, I'm not really as motivated to redo the whole rankings all over again. If it's been now there's 8 more goalies in that grouping. So just something for me to consider as well. And
the surprising fact about all of that, and speaking just for the Kimberley Dynamiters, is there were 2 questions for the Dynamiters coming into the season.
Yes.
They had forwards that they thought were as good or better than what they had last year. So they were concerned about the defense, and the question mark was on goaltending.
Yes.
Because Adam Anderson, of course, last year was the backup goaltender to an outstanding goaltender for the Dynamiters. So there's a question: are they going to be able to fill the shoes of? And I believe our goaltender last year got the goaltending award last year, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
So there was that question coming into the year, and the fact that both of these goaltenders have grown substantially along with the defense, playing outstanding hockey for the Dynamiters. And obviously the Dynamiters first place in the conference, second place in the league. And
pushing for number 1.
And that's not going to happen.
I know. We'll need some help, but...
Kelowna's not going to lose 2 games. Kelowna will not lose 2 games at the end of the season.
I have high hopes, okay?
So, but the surprise was the Dynamiters were 100% certain they would be competitive this year.
Yes.
But I don't think any of the coaching staff or whatever would have thought that they'd be the number 1 in the conference by the time the year was over. And I think that's an outstanding kudos to the coaching staff and the 2 goaltenders who have blossomed here in Kimberley.
And and speaking to that piece, because at the start of the year, both the assistant coach, Jeff Keever, and Derek Stewart were like, it's going to be a lot of high-scoring games.
We're not going to win many 2-1 games.
But on their current winning streak,
yes.
the past 11 games, they've had, I think, only one game where they've had 2 goals against them. So we're talking about how we were concerned about their defense at the start of the year to now where they're on an 11-game winning streak, primarily due to their defense, not their offense, like their winning streak earlier.
Notwithstanding the Golden game last week.
Correct.
And the other thing, part of it is, I'm not sure that they expected
Golden Grand Forks.
It was against Grand Forks. They won 10-2.
Yeah.
So, notwithstanding the fact that number 10 Brock Palmer is up in the standings as far as points. I think he's in third position with points, way behind the number 1 and quite a bit behind the number 2, both Kelowna Chiefs.
Yep.
But I think that was a bit of a surprise as well, that we would have a player in the top 10, let alone as high as Brock Palmer is.
As the top 5, yep.
So there you go.
Now, if I can talk just a little bit about this game, if that's all right. I was able to interview Dominic Turner for my podcast since he was Player of the Month for January for the Kootenay Conference. And I just love talking to players that aren't also from our team, because really once you get talking to them, they're just like any other teenager on any other team. Like that's
exactly
right. So I loved that part and just a reminder of that. But I've been really impressed with the Golden Rockets. I realize they're being outshot a lot, but one of the things Dominic Turner kept saying to me was like, we got to play our hockey, we got to play our style, and I've been impressed with the Rockets' style of play this season compared to how they were the previous 2 seasons.
Yep,
but also this game, like if this is the potential first-round matchup for the Kimberley Dynamos and Golden Rockets, this is
it's
really
be an
telling.
First round series, and I expect that this will be the first round matchup. The only thing I don't like about what the Golden Rockets are doing is they've taken 10 penalties.
And that's killed them this game.
And against this team, who have a pretty good power play, which has struggled in the past month or so, they've struggled, but they're breaking out of it against Grand Forks. They scored a few power play goals. Last night they scored a power play goal. Tonight they've got 3 power play goals.
I think all 3, yeah.
Out of 8 power plays. So their power play is starting to click, and that's what they really needed to go into the playoffs, is to make sure that their special teams were doing the job.
Right.
The penalty killing, one of the best in the league now, and the power play has been one of the best in the league, but now they're getting back to where they were earlier in the season. So if Golden plays this style and taking the penalties that they're taking, then it's going to be a short series.
It'll be tough.
If they can play the speed game, play a good, strong physical game, then the Dynamiters will have all they can handle.
Oh, absolutely. I agree with you 100%, because even if you take half the penalties, we've got a 2-1 game or a 1-1 game against the Golden Rockets, given that all 3 goals have been scored on the power play. So
and goaltending from Jacob Bennett has been outstanding today.
Fantastic.
He's the reason that it's only 3-1, because although there's been 38 shots on him, of those 38 shots, a good third of them, 11 or 12, have certainly been high-quality scoring chances, and he's been great in making saves, keeping this Golden Rockets team in the game.
Absolutely.
And they still have a chance, although they're going to be killing off the first 125 of that third period on the ninth penalty, that ninth power play the Dynamiters will be taking to the ice in the first. Now, having said that, I have yet to see a power play starting off a period that plays well.
I agree. Yeah.
For whatever reason, coming out of the dressing room, power plays just don't have the intensity, they don't click.
That momentum, intensity that comes during a period of play. Yeah.
And I noticed that Ryan Taylor for the Golden Rockets has been very intense tonight. Behind the play, a little bit chippy. He and Darian Bamber got into a
they did
a tussle, we'll say, in front of the Golden net. These got penalties, hacking and slashing. Both of them equally.
Oh, totally. They continued it as they went to the box, and I overheard their conversation.
And then, of course, he picks up a cross-checking penalty at the end of the game as the Dynamiters score their power play goal. Ryan Taylor takes a cross-checking penalty at that same time.
Yeah.
So not only do the Dynamiters score a power play goal, but they continue with the power play because of his lack of discipline. And he's a very intense player, and I love that in him. He and a little bit like Harrison Risden have to tone that down just a bit. Play just as intense, but
I'm surprised you didn't mention Spencer Kennedy, because that was one you were also saying needs to get within those
Spencer
boundaries.
Kennedy in the last few games has been very disciplined as well.
Yep.
And I'm surprised a little bit at Harrison Risden. He took a shot after the whistle had blown.
Yep.
And he skated to the bench.
I know, that was amazing.
He's showing some good discipline, and I'm sure that's kind of what the coaching staff has been talking to them about, both Risden and Kennedy, is play physical, and both of them are very physical players. But the extracurricular stuff,
it's got to stop.
And I think they're both taking that to heart.
Yes, they have.
And we're going to start the second period here in about 15 seconds.
It's going to be a good one.
Thank you very much, Josh Lockhart.
Thank you.
And we'll probably see you tomorrow night at the Dynamiter Awards Banquet.
I'll be there.
Excellent. Josh Lockhart, the Dynamiter blogger. Blogger's Blurb. And as we start this